So today we're going to cover two things. We're going to review a Gowise air fryer, and we're going to make a very, very simple recipe in it. Hi, I'm Urvashi Pitre. My blog is TwoSleevers.com, and I'm just going to walk through the features of this. Now, I've done reviews of some other air fryers that you might want to check out on my blog, TwoSleevers.com. I also have an unbiased review of 3 or 4 different ones. In this one, I'm covering the Gowise, and this is the smaller one. So as with most air fryers, here's kind of a panel, a digital panel that shows you what's going on. And then here is the basket. I'm going to talk about the basket in a little bit, but let me just talk about this panel first. So one thing I have realized is that what you really want is you do want a digital panel. If you buy a panel with things written around the side, it kind of didn't matter how expensive the air fryer was that I bought, the writing sort of wears off. The digital panel, on the other hand, doesn't wear off, and it's really, really easy to be able to see what's going on. So in that, you can use the panel one of 3 different ways. You can turn it on and you can set time. So I'm doing, more time, less time. You can set temperature, and this one goes in 10-minute increments. They don't all go in 10-minute increments. Some of them go in 20-minute increments, some of them go in 5, but this one does it in 10 minutes, which means if you're used to cooking something at 375, you can't really do that. It's going to be 380, not the end of the world. That's one way you can do it, is manually set the time and temperature. Another way you can do it is, you see this M button here, it's got pre-programmed settings in it. Now, I like to simplify things, and one of the things I did, and I don't know if you can see it on this side, but I created a little sticker for myself. Because here's how this is going to work. If I don't have a sticker like that, it's going to show me fries, which is 20 minutes and at 400 degrees. Then I press the next one and it says meat, 370 for 25. So I had to page through each of these, and it just got to be a pain. What I've realized is that shrimp and fish are 330 degrees for 20 minutes. Cake is 330 for 30 minutes. Those are the presets I'm telling you about. Meat is 375 for 25 minutes. Chips and chicken are 400 for 20 minutes. And steak is 400 for 25 minutes. So those are the presets. And like I said, I just put that on a little sticker so that I could see. So for example, the only difference between chips, chicken, and steak is that they're all 3 cooked at 400, but one is for the chicken and the chips are for 20 minutes and the steak is for 25 minutes. So you see how the preset takes some of the guesswork out for you. So that's how this works. So let's say that let me just choose fish. Okay, we said it was 20 minutes. And for 330, and all I have to do is press start and it starts to go. Now listen. Can you hear it? This gives you an idea of how loud it is. Now, one thing you have to do is you have to make sure there's clearance in the back and clearance on the side. So here, I'm just going to turn this to show you. Here are vents. Okay? And these vents is where the hot air comes out from. So you definitely don't want to put melty things at the back of this. This is the vent that's where it's gonna work. Okay. Now, one of the nice things about this air fryer is, let me just start it, for whatever it is. Now notice what happens when I pull it out. It stops, which means that if you take this out to stir or do anything of that sort, the air fryer is gonna stop itself. And when you put it back in, it picks up where it left off. Not all air fryers do that. This is one of the really nice things about a Gowise. One of the things that took me forever to figure out, which I will tell you, let's say that you set it for 15 minutes, but your chicken is done in 10. What you need to do is press the power button, pull it out, put it back in, and notice it doesn't start. So if you want to just check on it, simply pull the basket out. If you want to turn it off, press the power button, then pull the basket out and it shuts itself. Or you can take it down to 0 minutes, but why, right? This is a lot simpler. So that's the outside of it. And I am about 5'5". Well, I want to say 5'6", but I'm really 5'5". So you see, it's a pretty big machine. It's like, it's a pretty significant size on me. Okay, let me show you the inside basket now. So the way to pull it out is you just pull it out straight. Now, one of the things that makes the Gowise a little bit differently structured from the others is this little button on top. So it's got a button. Now, many of you know I have rheumatoid arthritis, so some days I do struggle with this button a bit. But you can't just lift the basket out, which is a good safety feature. What you have to do is you have to press down, and the basket comes out. Okay? Now you've got 2 pieces. You've got this outside basket. And then you've got this one with the holes. Not only does it have holes, but if you look on the sides here, it's got these little vents, which is where the hot air comes from. Many times when I'm cooking something that drips a lot, like chicken wings or something that's going to drip a lot of grease, I might put either a piece of foil down here, or I might put 1/4 of a cup of water so that the grease falls into the water and doesn't go into this hot pan and start to cook. So that's a good tip to remember. One of the things I love about this Gowise is that there's a plus and a minus realistically, but see how small these little holes are. Okay, so these very small holes means that anything that I put in there won't fall through. And that's a really, really good feature. And you can essentially put your food in here. You can put, you can put a pan in here. You can put a rack in here. So let me show you. So here's a little rack. And a lot of times what you might do is you might put a layer of, I'm making this up, chicken wings in there. You might put a rack and you might put another layer of chicken wings. Now, the issue with this is going to be that the ones at the bottom might cook a little bit faster. So somewhere in the middle of cooking, you're going to have to take this out and you're going to have to take the ones at the bottom out, switch them around, or you may just have to toss it a little bit. But it's not a bad way to get more food cooked in. So let me show you the dimensions. Now, I mentioned this in one of my other reviews. They'll tell you how many quarts something, the capacity is. So this, I think, is 3.75, etc. What really matters is the surface area. This diameter is what really, really matters, because you want your food to be in as flat a layer as possible. So the quarts are really how deep it is. So like, let's look at this, okay? This is about, if I could get my fingers to work, we might know. This is about 8 inches wide, okay? And it's about 3.5, almost 4 inches deep. So if you were gonna stack food, it would hold a lot. But if you're gonna spread it out, you basically are working with 8 inches of surface area. And that's the thing to remember. Now, you can use the tricks I told you about stacking on top. Even if your meat overlaps a little bit, with heat it shrinks down so you can get it in. But realistically, something like this, I have found what really works well in it is about 1 pound of meat, 4 cups of vegetables. Okay, so if you're cooking more than that at a time, you may have to cook in 2 batches. Now, many of the recipes in my cookbook only require cooking for 10 minutes. And as I mentioned here, the shrimp, fish for 20 minutes, meat for 25 minutes, steak for 25 minutes. So cooking it twice may or may not be that much of an issue. So anyway, so here's the Gowise. Again, what I really love about it is it's very sturdy. It was not that expensive when I bought it. I think it was 60 or 70. It's now $75 or $80. It'll just depend. And I'll try to provide a link. So if you like this review, please do try to use my link. That would be really helpful. It's an affiliate link. So again, I think it's a sturdy thing. It does take up a lot more footprint compared to some of the other air fryers, but it's extremely light. So I have a Breville that I love, but I couldn't lift it. It's almost 50 pounds. This one is not that hard to lift at all in comparison. So what I tend to do is I leave it on the counter when I'm cooking, and then it goes away on a shelf at other times, and it's very easy to use. So basically, when you're ready, you take it out, you put the food in, you put it back in, you set your time and temperature, or you set your memory thing, you start it, you walk away, you come back, and there's food. So this is the Gowise, which is one of the ones that I highly recommend. Oh, one thing I do want to show you is this is the Airfryer book I was talking about. So this is available on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart. It's going to be in Costco, actually, which is quite exciting. But this is the air fryer recipe book. It uses real food. It isn't frozen, pre-cooked food, so it's real food. About 64 recipes in here are low carb. And the majority of them are 10 minutes of prep time. For the meat, 30 minutes of marinating, and 10 minutes of cook time. So I hope you check it out. And if you go ahead and pre-order it right now, that would be really helpful. So go check that out. And I hope this was helpful. Leave me a comment at the end of this video to let me know what you'd like to see covered differently next time. Thank you.